Welcome to Simplifying AI in Government. My name is Ayman Aitani, and I'm joined by my colleagues Shad and MG, and we have a series of AI use cases in government for us to discuss today. MG, starting off, I like your standing desk.
Thank you. A bit of a different setup we have. Also, we have a different timing for this space. First time we're doing it at not 5 p.m. Dubai time. We gotten used to that. We gotten used to you saying that. So yeah, we got some nice topics to get into. First of all, after the sort of prolonged break we took, we're heading into the first topic with Microsoft. They're launching this new AI National Skills Initiative at the GITEX 2024 that happened last month in Dubai. So basically, they're launching this National Skills Initiative in collaboration with key local government entities and aims to upskill 100,000 local government officials. When I first read this headline, I thought there's no way there are 100,000 government officials in the UAE. I mean, given the footprint of UAE, I couldn't imagine that 100,000 government officials, but apparently they are. They're covered across, or basically the initiative covers Sharjah, it covers Dubai, it covers Abu Dhabi, to train these employees or these officials over the 12-month period. So basically over 1 year. And basically, this aligns with what the UAE wants as it to be the standing leader when it comes to AI innovation. So we know that Microsoft is well connected within the government in UAE. And this is one additional step in order to bolster their stance as an AI leader in the space. Microsoft is saying that they are offering these personalized training for these employees. So they're dedicating for specific roles. It's not like a general training. They're saying that every department, every role has its specific training, and this is basically what they're going after with this. Now, Ayman, you've worked and you've talked with a lot of government personnel. What are the key skills that they're looking for, and what are basically the departments that they're looking to upskill?
So, capacity building for government employees in the Emirates is a key component that different government entities want to make sure that members who are working in government continue to improve their skill set, whether it is the leading emerging technology like AI and blockchain, or whether it's day-to-day project management, organization, and so on. So it's all about, so a lot of the KPIs are about how many people are we training, what are we training them on, and so on. Now, with AI becoming a mandate for government entities in the UAE, there's a need to upskill employees within the government entities. And this needs to be done with their day-to-day environment, with their day-to-day work. So they have daily work that they need to take care of, and also learn a new skill set. So partnerships with Microsoft and other entities can help these government entities hit their KPIs of training an X number of people in government to improve their AI skill set. Now, for me, there are two components when it comes to AI training in government. So there's a personal productivity part, as on an individual level. How can you better summarize reports? How can you better create initiatives? How can you summarize emails? How can you write a better email? How can you write better landing pages and communication with citizens and residents? So it's on an individual basis. And then there's the second component more on the entity AI use cases. What are things that we're doing as a government entity on a day-to-day basis? How can AI be used to automate a lot of the admin work or the repetitive tasks? If there's a lot of data and analysis, what does that look like? How can we use AI for that? So those would be the two verticals that I feel AI in government can help.
Yeah, these are definitely the most, I feel, important verticals to tackle when it comes to upskilling government. And so basically, this announcement by Microsoft comes right after they announce something that they call the AI Skills Navigator, which is basically an advanced platform that offers these personalized AI learning pathways. I believe we have a screen recording. We can show like a clip of that. So it basically features this Microsoft Learn basically document. It features LinkedIn learning documents. It features some GitHub and more. So basically what this is, they have a portal where you can press find your path. You can personalize it a bit. And then you say, okay, so basically how do I want to use AI, for example? You choose the level, and then you choose basically the learning outcome. And then basically what happens is that they give you a couple of learning resources that you can go through, and you can basically upskill yourself or train yourself to be better equipped with dealing with these platforms, or with these different technologies or tools or apps or whatever. Now, we've been dealing in-house with Microsoft a bit, and we come to face some issues here and there with new tech, and we feel that we need to resort at some times to these documents in order to see how can we better do this, how can we better do that. And it's not the most straightforward process, because there's a lot of documentation, there's a lot of things that go inside things, and it's not really straightforward. Now, Ayman, do you think that compiling these sort of learned documents into an envelope or into a frame that's called upskilling, is it the best approach to go forward with upskilling management or upskilling employees, rather than something very hands-on, something maybe at least give me a video to watch, not something to read?
We each have different paths of learning, MG. For me personally, it's conferences, long blog posts and articles. And before AI, I used to like those white papers and research papers. Now it's like, hey, AI, study it and let me know what I need to learn. So each of us have their own path of learning. I know many other people prefer videos for learning, and podcasts as well. I know others who don't want to read anything or try anything. They just want to try. They want to open up and try the tools themselves. So each of us are following our own path of learning. And as adults in a professional environment, we get to choose, versus when you're back in school, you have to study this document, read that video, write that paper. Here, you can pick your poison.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, personally, for me, I find myself not leaning towards reading anymore, although a lot of ChatGPT, what it gives me, I have to read it. I have to go through it. I have to filter it. I have to make sure that everything is double checked, everything is correct. But yeah, everyone has its own basically path, or has its own way to learn things.
All right, thank you for the input, MG and Ayman. And we're going into our next topic, which is the French government using AI through speed cameras. So they're gonna keep their existing infrastructure. What they're going to do is integrate AI in it to identify a few aspects of the driving around the country. One of them is, of course, speeding. The second one is to identify potholes, who's running red lights, what is risking or causing more accidents in the country. And the third one is, and I think that's the most important ones, this one identifies who's also using his phone or driving without a seatbelt. So yeah, the French government is working towards keeping or improving the driving safety in the country. And we saw this use case first a while ago in California and San Jose, I think, first. So I think governments are learning from each other, and they're adding their own use cases on top of it. So just like this one, they took the use case of using AI, integrating it with the existing driving infrastructure, but they had to add on top of it some more use cases, like identifying who's using his phone, who's driving without a seatbelt. So, Ayman, what do you think about governments learning from each other, finding use cases instead of their own, but checking what other governments are doing and doing it themselves?
So government entities using speed cameras for additional intelligence is not new, but with AI, they can analyze more footage and have more findings. So the cases of somebody speaking on the phone, not paying attention, eating, distracted, whatever it is, that technology has been there. It used to be called machine learning before AI was hot. Now when AI is hot, now everything is AI enabled, including the speed cameras. I think some of the advantages could be for older cameras with poorer resolution. Improved AI can help with that. Also, because AI is hot and many government entities want to invest in AI, that could also be an excuse to upgrade the existing infrastructure they might have bought a few years back, whether it's the cameras, whether it's the software that analyzes them. and so on. So that's one related to AI-enabled speed cameras. For different government entities watching other government entities, what they're doing to get ideas. Many government organizations have great intent for what they want to build. However, they need an excuse internally. So they need validation that is external to their organization. So when they face resistance, they say, oh, look, Singapore did this, France did that, this other government entity in the country did this. So those types of use cases can help them break through the internal red tape or friction that they might get when trying to implement new change when it comes to technology, improving process, and any type of change. So looking at global AI use cases can help get ideas for what to implement. And second, it helps to get external validation to push through internally.
And Ayman, for the most similar or consistent or a concern from the citizens that I'm seeing regularly on such use cases that are using AI publicly is their concern on data. So there was already street cameras, speed cameras. It was already filming you the whole day. There's nothing new other than, as you said, AI enablement. So how can government solve this or improve it to solve the concerns of the citizens?
Data privacy and security is not top of line for people on a day-to-day basis. They might say it. If you survey them, it will show up as a high number. But what citizens want is their day-to-day to be easier to use when they deal with a government entity. They need to renew a paper, they need to apply for something or so on. How quickly, how easily can they do this? Can they do it for less money? Can they do it without visiting the government entity? Those have a higher priority than is my data safe or not? And also because part of them trusts that the government will do what it needs to do to secure their data. Now, many government entities, especially in the Emirates, they have a compliance level on an Emirate level, on a federal level, and even within the organization itself about where do you store your data, who has access to it, how frequently do you update it, who or what tools have access to this, can you use external third-party tools or not. So those tend to safeguard data. However, also they add a layer of complexity. We've rolled out many government projects where we had to spend 3 months working with the IT and IS department, showing them, saying, look, if you use this third-party tool, it can significantly improve the processes that you have. It can reduce the time. It can solve many of the problems that you have. And just take the time to look at the changes to data. So for them, it's usually a blanket of, no, third-party tool, it's a no. Or Google's not secure, or Zoom is not secure, or random incorrect statements like this. So it takes a while to get the IS and IT department to sit down and say, look, just take a look with us. This is the documents. These are the data. Look how we can do the savings here. Look how we can improve how things are done there without making unnecessary workaround. So we've helped many internally within our organization build their use case with the IS and IT in order to get them to use the tools that they would need to help get their day-to-day to run better and easier.
Awesome. So we're gonna move into the third topic, which is the government in the UK. They're launching this experimental AI chatbot, which aims to help businesses businesses get support or get any sort of information they want from the government website. Now they're testing it basically in a trial phase. They're giving access to 15,000 users so far across 30 different pages from the UK government, so they can sign in, they can ask their questions, and they basically get simplified answers on issues like taxation, issues like business rules, issues like or whatever support they need. Now this is definitely something needed, because a lot of information that's available on government websites is rather maybe unclear, or it's not basically tailored for users to understand or to ingest. Or maybe it's just simply hard to find. So this kind of approach takes all this into consideration and gives them a solution where you can just talk with this AI tool and you can get whatever answers you want. Ayman, do you think this now this specifically targets businesses and small businesses trying to basically get support that they need. Do you think it can be easily replicated in other sectors like maybe healthcare, maybe housing, or so on?
So government organizations who are using AI chatbots to help answer questions for businesses and people, they come from the right place, but I'm very skeptical about the implementation. The theory is that people come to the government organization for answers. They call, they email, they walk in, they reach out. So if you provide an intelligent bot that can answer 80% of the most common questions that are asked, in theory, that can reduce the amount of effort internally for the organization, as well as making it easier for the user. That's a nice and lovely theory. But in practice, the AI tool is trained on data that the user doesn't care about. I've been on many government rollout projects, and when they give us the frequently asked questions, they tend to be very odd. Odd as in they're written from a government entity's perspective, but not from the user's perspective. So for example, they ask things about who runs this organization, where are their locations, although they don't accept walk-ins, something about their press releases or so on. The citizen or resident, they need to apply for a document or a license or a permission or renewal. They don't care about any of that. It's how much does it cost? What are the steps I need? What are my documents? How can I speed this up? What's the status of my application? Who can I talk to and escalate if things go wrong? What do I need to know? So very specific things that they care about as citizens and residents performing this service. So when the government entity reframes their frequently asked questions and their approach from a user perspective, and then they add an AI tool on top, that's when the use case becomes a valid one, useful for everybody else. But if the chatbot is there just to analyze what's on the website of the government entity and answer questions, I have doubts that it will be a successful one. The government entity will tick the box saying, okay, we have an AI-enabled tool, but the usage will be low. The frustration of the users will be high because the AI bot cannot create answers from nothing.
Yeah, and Emma, we know that one important aspect of implementing these types of tools is the actual quality of the output, which you kind of touched on there a bit. And what the government in the UK says that this initial trial is 70% of the users that are trying it are saying that they are satisfied with the outcome, given that it's just a trial, and they're considering expanding even to the whole 7,000 pages, 700,000 pages that the government has in order to ingest into this tool. And they also touched on safety, like what's the safety here, what are the security issues, and they said that they're working with experts from the AI Safety Institute to ensure that the chatbot's safeguarding measures are all in place. Now, I had a question that I wanted to ask you about safety, but we kind of touched on that in Jad's topic. So I'm going to ask you a question that has to do with KPIs. What do you think are government or basically a business's KPIs when it wants to implement this type of tool? What should it look for? Like, what should the boxes be ticked so that the implementation can be successful?
If the government entity has a KPI of rolling out an AI project or an AI use case, and the direction is to have a chatbot that speaks with users, the key things to look at would be what are people coming to them for? And you can do that by auditing incoming email requests, calls that are coming in, email walk-ins, whatever the inquiries are coming, whatever format, comments on social media. So those would show what are the key things that the government entity would need to respond to in terms of inquiries and questions by users. Because if the government entity captures those well and then adds an AI tool with the right answers for this, it can increase the satisfaction of the residents and citizens, and also reduce the workload that it does internally. However, if the government entity does not have their first AI use case and they're looking for an AI KPI, whatever, for them they just want to have a rollout an AI project. It doesn't have to be necessarily a chatbot to answer users. That's when running internal inquiries, internal workshops, so that can be done over a day or two, where the government entity brings in the same department and multiple departments, and they would. There's a way to trigger questions. So you'd provide certain themes for them to think about. You'd show them what other global entities are doing with AI and what are other use cases, and then you would brainstorm specific ideas within that group of multi-department people to look at what are potential problems to solve, and then you'd rank them, from most important to least important, and then you detail a few of those, the first 2 or 3, and you'd present those internally to management to get buy-in. Because if you don't present them internally to management, it's only going to be a nice departmental effort versus AI use case that can roll out for the government entity as a whole.
And do you think they should be like condensed into few major headlines, or they can be like a comprehensive list of like 20 to 50 things to cover?
From a use case, you mean for choosing the use case?
No, I'm talking not choosing the use case, but the KPIs to tackle or the boxes to check.
So the KPI for a government entity is usually it's commonly inherited. So there's a centralized government entity that has a long-term vision for the country, and then they assign specific government entities to handle those KPIs. Or the KPI is homegrown within the government entity. They say this is our KPI, and they push it up and get approval on this. And it depends how detailed the KPI is. Sometimes the KPI is do an AI use case. It could be as simple as that, because we're early in AI. They want the government entity to get started with AI, and for them it's just run one proof of concept, run one use case, and see how that works out, because eventually they want to grow them to 3 use cases, 12, 20, 100, whatever they are. So it could be as simple as that as a starting point.
Okay, great. Thank you for that insight, Ayman.
And for our last topic of the day, we have Google's initiative, which is similar to MG's Microsoft topic. They announced they're going to launch a $15 million grant specific for training the government workforce. So this grant will have several programs, and they're mostly going to focus on AI in operations. That's 1. 2, how to use AI to increase your personal productivity. 3, where to use each of Google's tools. So Google, like any other major player in the AI field, they have basically tools for anything you want to do. They want to make the government use their tools more and more and more, and this is why they're doing it. So Ayman, as Ayman,
Jad,
as
what's the name of your
MG,
dog?
sorry, Daisy.
Daisy. Oh, and she wants your attention?
Yep.
Go take care of Daisy. I'll finish over this topic with MG.
All right. She's good.
So-
She's good. Yeah.
I know.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, but seriously, go take care of her. We're good. So for Google and Microsoft and Amazon and others to focus on government workforce training, it has multiple objectives. From one side, it fulfills the need of government entities who are looking for AI capacity building. From another side, these entities like Google, Microsoft, and Amazon and others, they're selling technology. So if they train you in a certain technology in a certain way, the government entity is much more likely to go and buy that tool and software and license and subscription, which is what their business is. So it works well for both. And I find that it really helps when we're delivering. So we've been delivering a lot of AI government training, and I find what it helps is the more time we spend beforehand with the government entity to understand really what they want to learn. So why AI? What do they want to look at? Who's in our audience? What are the departments? What AI topics have you trained them in the past so that we're not repetitive? What are potential KPIs that they have that they're looking to hit in the next year for us to train them, to get them closer to that KPI or what equipped for that KPI? Tell us more about their process and day-to-day. This way, we're able to customize further for their needs. Otherwise, we've all been in trainings where you come in, you know half of the material, there's no engagement. The trainer is a bit, he or she knows their stuff, but you already know half of the material, and the session is not very engaging anyway. So the more you customize the training independently of the technology, the more engaging it is. We've all been in, whether in school or in boring meetings at work or boring trainings or conferences we went to. It doesn't. It's
Yeah,
not a good use of time.
ultimately, this would result in a better product for the client, because once you understand their needs better, it's not like you're just copy pasting this standard, the list of features, and you're just giving them whether it fits their needs or not. You're basically understanding what they want. You kind of said it. You're basically involved or engulfed with their environment to see what their needs are, and this would result in a better outcome for both parties.
Yes. So the theme today has a lot of training on AI from tech
Yeah.
companies to government entities. That's the
Yeah.
overwhelming theme for today. That's it from our side in terms of simplifying AI in government. We look at AI use cases globally and regionally in the Middle East and who's doing what, and we share them with you. Thank you for joining us. See you again next week.